this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. We're here for another bit of a play around with our junk journal for beginners series. So I've got my journal page open here at the next page that I thought we could do a spread on. And as you can see, this page here is one of my flimsy pages. So I don't want to kind of put anything too heavy on this because of course, otherwise I'm going to kind of damage the, you know, the ability for it to actually work as a page. It's going to be kind of too heavy. So we're going to kind of focus mainly on this page here, and then we'll just kind of do something on the facing page to just tie it in. So far we have been using obviously, you know, the books and things that we brought along. And we also kind of painted and we coffee dyed some envelopes and some papers and things like that. So let's pull in this piece that I think in the last video I glued this together and said we could have it as a belly band. For some reason I found that a bit of a mouthful there. So I'm thinking it could go on here. So what I'm going to do is just chop it down because it's a little bit too long for the page at the moment. So we'll just chop that down like that, and then we'll just chop it down at the bottom. It doesn't matter if it's shorter than the page, obviously it just can't really be longer than the page. So that's pretty much about right, but I'm just going to bring it down slightly more. Like that, okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it down here, I think, along the edge as well, because it's actually quite wide at the moment. But as you can see, I mean, this is actually perfect to use. Either we could have it as a sort of pocket here, or, you know, as I say, we could have it as a belly band running down the page. So I think I'm going to use it as a belly band. So I'm just going to cut this down here, like that. Okay. And then what I'll probably do is ink this up. So I know that we talked in a previous episode about the distress ink, and I did say, you know, if you're buying one thing, this is the thing that's going to transform your pieces. So I'm just going to go round the edge of here with the distress ink. I mean, this is kind of glossy-ish paper from this book, so it's not a matte finish paper or anything. But as you can see, it still picks up that distress ink really well. So, and it does just literally instantly transform that, doesn't it? And it straight away looks, you know, much older than it did previously. So we've got that one there. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of layer up some other little bits and pieces for some decorative details. So let's just take this bit of painted book page perhaps, and kind of have it just layered out like that. I mean, straight away, that instantly looks really pretty, doesn't it? You know, and we've not even put anything else on the page yet. So let's just get gluing that down straight away. Sorry, I'm just cleaning my glue end off. So we will just glue this one down. Okie dokie. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope you're feeling inspired to maybe have a go at making your first journal if you haven't made one before. If you have, and you're a dab hand or an old hand, not sure what the expression is, at doing journals, hopefully this is, you know, not completely dull and boring for you. But I mean, obviously there's still always kind of things that we pick up. I mean, I watch all sorts of videos, and you know, it's just surprising how many things you can still pick up kind of all this time later, because we've all got different, you know, techniques and things that we use. So hopefully it will still be partially of interest. Right, I'm going to now just take some of this fabric that was my daughter's dress, and I'm just going to kind of cut a little piece down, or tear it down. And this, if you didn't catch my previous video, I've coffee dyed this, so it's, you know, nice and dark. It's not kind of the black and white that it originally was. But I'm thinking, you know, we could maybe have this running across here at the bottom. I don't know. I've got this one with a little bit of flower in it. Or of course I had this one, which was the old shirt, which I'm kind of preferring this, I think. Let me just cut a little slither off of here, and I'm thinking a smaller, you know, narrower sort of slither. So let's just take that piece off there. Okay. I mean, it may be that perhaps that's not quite right down there. So let's just leave that kind of to the side while we just have a think about that. Okay, right, what do we want to do? Do we want to add, got that flower fairy book that we have been using. So I've been using obviously the flower fairy book, the floral book, and also this children's Enid Blyton book. So it's quite nice to be able to mix and match the different bits and bobs. So I'm just wondering whether we could use this little fairy, and I might just tear around that fairy. So just tear, whoops, oh my goodness, nearly had a complete accident there, and I tore much closer to that fairy than originally planned. Oh well, right, okay. Okie dokie, and we'll tear that down like that. Okay, I will throw this away. I mean, again, you could keep this, but I'm going to just throw it away. Right, so I'm thinking that little fairy looks quite cute on there, doesn't it? Yeah, I like how that looks. And then we also coffee dyed some paper, didn't we? So let me just bring in the paper. Oh, did we not coffee dye some plain paper? I thought we coffee dyed some plain paper. No, I can't see that at the moment. Right, hold on a moment. Okay. So what I've got, if you are looking for some plain paper, I've got the, what I think they call this fly sheet from the front of that book. And what we could do is make a little kind of flippy type piece from this. So I'm just going to cut this down here. Like that. And then if I just fold that like that. Because this is then, you know, making this a much more interactive piece if you've got kind of folds and flips and things like that. So let's just chop that down. I've cut it, folded it a little bit wide. So I'm just going to chop that down a bit. Okay, bring it in, and then just going to fold that edge like that. Okay, so that's where then you could glue this onto your belly band to create, you know, just something a little bit more interactive and interesting. And, you know, that's literally just from that book that we've just torn that out. So let's just ink around this a bit as well, just so it's got that, you know, cohesive kind of look to it. And then just go in on the back as well. Okie dokie. Did I do it all? No, didn't miss. All right, I missed this piece. So I'll just do on this side as well. Okie dokie. Okay, right. So what we're going to do, just going to glue this on here like this. So again, just literally taking my wet glue and just gluing that sort of flap or that folded piece of paper, gluing that down onto there. Okay. Like that. And that's going to go in there. Still haven't decided about this piece of fabric, so yeah, still kind of having a think about that. But I might just take a little piece like that, because we could just kind of have some coming off here or something. I mean, that's quite sweet, isn't it? And then what we can also do is obviously just bring in maybe some more flowers from the flower book or an image from the children's book. So let's just see what flowers and things there are in here. We've got holly. That's a little bit festive for what I'm looking for, really. Okay. Oh, I mean, they're lovely, but they're rather large. Oh, sorry about that. My phone hardly ever rings, and just typical when I'm doing a video. Right, let's have a look. So I've got these, actually. They may work out okay, so I'll just tear those out. They're quite orange, but they may look okay. Oh, these are gorgeous, aren't they? Again, they might be a bit on the big side. Okay, let's take this page here as well, I think. Oh, there's so many lovely images in this book. Right, okay. So let's just bring it like this. I was intending on using these reds. I'm kind of loving these. Oh, I'm going to go for these. Right, I'm going to just tear these around. I mean, I just really like tearing, and you know, again, I mean, this is a junk journal. You're not kind of trying to make a, you know, perfect work of art or anything like that. You're just trying to make something that's really aesthetically pleasing, you know, something that you're going to, you know, be proud to hold and to look at. And, you know, just kind of mixing up different sort of techniques and materials to come up with something, you know, beautiful and unique, really. So, I mean, don't worry too much if you're, I don't know, kind of thinking, oh my goodness, she's just tearing that. You know, this is all going to hopefully just, you know, blend in okay by the end of the page. So there we go. I mean, doesn't that just look so pretty? And to be honest, if I'd tried to cut that out, I honestly don't think I would have really made any better job of it, because it would have been very tricky to have gone in around all of the bits and pieces. So, you know, for me, that's worked absolutely fine. Right, okay. Now, the question is, do I want that in such a big piece? I don't think so. So I'm going to just tear down again to just whittle that down a little bit. Because now I can obviously split it and have, you know, much more of that flower going on, if you see what I mean. So I could have it sort of, oops. I don't think I've got a great deal of space there, to be honest, but okay. Well, I could have it like that, and to be honest, I could even have more like that. I mean, how pretty does that look? And, you know, that just super simple, but just works and looks so gorgeous, doesn't it? So, again, I'm just going to glue this down onto the page. Oh, it's a really dismal day here. It's kind of raining and drizzling and, oh, just horrible. Miserable, miserable day. Okay, right. Let's just now glue that down. Haven't been outside. So, you know, I don't know what the temperature is like, but yeah, definitely appearance-wise, it's not looking like inviting, like as if you'd want to go out, to be honest. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to ink around the little fairy and then just pop that fairy on there. So, okay, like that. Okay, super gorgeous. And then, do I want the whole of this flower, or are we thinking that's quite large? In which case, shall I tear around here? Because I can always kind of, you know, put it back if I decide actually I would have preferred more. That's quite nice, isn't it? And then I have even then got this little piece that I could have kind of poking out somewhere else if I want to. I mean, that's quite nice. Obviously then it's a little bit weird under here, but maybe we could put something under there. So yeah, let's go for that. So I'm just going to glue this down. Okie dokie. Again, just got my dry wipe there. So I mean, the dry wipes are, you know, really handy to have on hand because you can then just dab off any excess glue straight away. Okie dokie. Just put my fairy down. Oh, that fairy's so cute, isn't it? Let me bring it up to show you. Isn't that so gorgeous? Love it. Okay, right. So that's like that. And then if I wanted to have this piece, I'm kind of thinking maybe we could get another image or something to put with that. So let's just have a look here. See if we've got anything cute looking in this book. Well, I mean, there's lots of cute looking images in this book, to be fair, but you know, anything ideal is what I mean. Let's just have a look. Oh, I mean, she's so cute. I hadn't really noticed before, but this girl's got whiskers. It's called The Girl with Whiskers. Yeah, I just never noticed that before, strangely enough. I just thought she was a really pretty girl, but yeah, she's got whiskers. Right, I'm just going to tear her down. Okey-dokey. There we go, just tear her like that. Oh, she is so cute on there, isn't she? And then I'm just going to see whether I've got any words here that might be sweet to have around my page. Let me just put my glasses on. No, didn't see any on there. Maybe you spotted some and I just missed them, but yeah, I couldn't see any that were grabbing me. So I'm just going to glue this piece down like this. Okay. Like that. Whoops. Okie dokie. So that looks pretty, and then she is just going to go on top. So, I mean, so far on this page, we've used quite a few different images. You know, we've used the Flower Fairy book, we've used the other children's book, you know, the Enid Blyton book, and the, you know, vintage flower book as well. We've also used, obviously, some book page here that we've painted. But, I mean, it just ties in really beautifully together, doesn't it? So we've got all those different themes and, you know, themes and things going on. But they all just work really lovely together. Sorry about that. My daughter was just coming up here asking me about something. Right. Okay. So that's kind of looking pretty like that. So all I'm going to do now is just literally glue my belly band. So to glue your belly bands, you're just going to glue it top and then bottom like that. Because you want to have the whole middle piece open for tucking in, you know, your... well, journal cards or whatever else you're going to be tucking in there. So just pop that down like that. Okie dokie. Just try and press that down. I should have really just used my glue gun because that would be a lot quicker whilst I'm doing a video. Okay. So it looks super pretty, doesn't it? So I'm just having a look through to see if I've got another little word here. So I've got fairy stories, but I'm going to just take the fairy, I think. So I'll just cut that out. Okay. how cute is that? I love that page. It's so pretty. So, I mean, hopefully, you know, if you've been making a journal along with me, this is how, you know, you're going to feel kind of at the sort of finishing-ish stages. I mean, I'm not saying we're finished here, but, you know, once you've kind of completed a page, hopefully you'll just have that lovely, joyous feeling of, you know, oh, I love that page. And, you know, you're going to have that kind of all the time because every page is going to just look so different and they're all going to have kind of something unique about them. Well, I mean, unless you obviously made multiple journals the same. I mean, I don't really tend to ever make the same thing. You know, and obviously if you're using books and things, you're going to struggle because you're not going to have multiple of the same images. But yeah, I mean, how cute is that? It just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? So then what I want to do is just kind of do something on the other page to just decorate. Like I say, I want to leave it predominantly for journaling, but I just want to put something down there so it's not completely plain. So let's just, again, have a look through. And it might be that we'll just bring in a flower or something. I mean, actually, let's just take this one, for example. That might just look really nice on there. Just literally tear around that. So let me just get that off. Just because it's easier to obviously tear it down once it's no longer on the big page. So we just tear around that. Like that. Okie dokie. So what I'm thinking is from here, I mean, obviously we've done, I think we've done three pages now. So hopefully you've got, you know, quite a good idea now of how to get going and, you know, some ideas of, you know, where to go for your first few pages and things. So what I'm thinking is we will move on, you know, pretty quickly through this journal, as in progress to kind of the next stages. So, you know, because I don't want to kind of bore everyone silly. And I'm aware that, you know, there may be some people watching this who actually aren't sort of beginning. So, yeah, I don't want to kind of bore everyone, and hopefully we'll manage to get things for everyone. So what I'm thinking is in the next episode, I'd love to take you shopping. So I think what we'll do, we're going to, you know, sort of take an amount. So I'm thinking £20. So again, I mean, I'm obviously in the UK, I'm working on pounds. Yeah, I mean, £20, I don't know what that is, probably currently in dollars, maybe $28, I'm not sure. But I'm thinking we will just kind of take our money and we will go shopping. Now, I'm filming this and it's lockdown, so not many shops are open. And to be honest, we don't have a whole bunch of craft shops, you know, here in the UK, or certainly, you know, where I live anyway. We do have a hobby craft. It's quite away from my house, but that's obviously closed anyway at the moment. And to be honest, I tend to go to the shop called The Range much more over Hobbycraft anyway, because The Range is a lot cheaper. So we will go to The Range and we will just spend our £20 buying kind of what I would call like next stage items, next stage items for your junk journal things. So yeah, hopefully I would love it if you join me. Right, I'm just grabbing my household paint. Hold on. Okay, so I've got my paint here and I'm just going to kind of paint around just as we have on the other pages to get rid of some of that text. And I'll just go over some of the, you know, some of the flower as well. And then that will just hopefully tie it all in nicely to the rest of the journal as well. So yeah, that's the plan, is that we would do a little bit of shopping, you know, and again, you know, these are going to be just mere suggestions. They are not kind of by any means, oh, you must buy these things or anything else. And, you know, of course, you may continue, you know, decide to continue with just these book pieces and things that you've got. But I just thought it would be quite fun to just explore the things that you could buy potentially. And then obviously we will come back and we will work with some of the things that we pick up on our shopping trip. and kind of go from there. So it will become hopefully like an evolving process, so that you can just see, you know, where you can take your journal, obviously the more supplies that you have. But I mean, the supplies that I'm thinking we're going to be buying, you know, hopefully they would really do quite a lot of, you know, quite a lot of journals and things like that. So, because hopefully we're going to get some papers, pretty paper and things like that. So, sorry, I've got a bristle here. You know, so hopefully that £20 will be £20 kind of well spent. And, you know, you're going to be able to have a lot of fun with the things that we get. So that's the plan at the moment. How to kind of, or you know, where we're going to go to next with this journal. So right, let's move that out of the way. Now the only thing that I didn't end up using was I didn't use any fabric on here, and of course, you know, we don't have to use fabric. I have got this little piece that I did just cut off. Do you know, I might just even staple it just down here. I mean, it doesn't really kind of need to be there, but I've cut it down now. I might as well just use it. So get my stapler and we'll just staple that on. Okay. I mean, I guess, you know, like all these things, you know, the more you do something and the more you love your hobby, you know, the more you're going to want to, I guess, invest in it. So yeah. Right, okay, so that's that page. I absolutely love how that page came out. It just, oh, yummy. Just love it. Really, really looks pretty. And then again, you know, you can always put a paper clip here to just hold this closed if you want to. So let me just grab a little paper clip. Okay, oops, I've got one of those little curly type ones. So I just put that in there. Oh my goodness. Sorry, the camera is quite low, so it's kind of like blocking right where I can see. Oh my goodness. Perhaps I should have just used a conventional paper clip. Oh, there we go. Oh, that paper clip's so cute on there because it's kind of, I don't know, to me it feels a little bit fairy-ish. Now, obviously I haven't distressed this page because the paint is still wet, but I mean, of course, once the paint's dry, I will distress it with, again, my blendy tool and things. So the only other thing that I want to do now is just make something to pop in as a kind of pull out or a journaling card. So again, let's just have a think what type of thing we might want to put in there. So let's have a look. Well, we could either use this actually, or let me just pull in my fairy book. Oh, the fairies, I haven't really got... Just got this shape left of this fairy. Let me just tear this out. I know it's blue, and that kind of goes against the grain really, because I'm a bit of a matchy person. So for me, I'm like, oh, that's blue. But I just wondered whether we could tie it in, and the blue might just be like, wow, doesn't that look kind of striking and lovely? I don't know, it might look really rubbish. But so let's quickly move that out of the way and let's have a look for, I mean, that flower, it could be kind of tucked behind, but that flower's pretty huge. Let's tear it down and see how it would look. So, oops, like that. Okay. Whoa, okay. Right, so let's get rid of that and see. Yeah, I mean, we could definitely have that fairy poking out, couldn't we? So I'm just wondering whether I could tear these flowers down further, actually. So I'm just going to turn them around here, just so they're slightly smaller. Okay, yeah, okay, right, so let's bring in some of that lovely red. Oh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some sort of card. Again, let me just see what card I have actually got floating about here. I mean, obviously I've always got all sorts of card and things, but I'm trying to find something that would be the right colour. So hold on a minute. Okay, so I've got this sheet. This is some old scrapbook paper, and all I've been doing is I was playing around with some inks and just like spraying them on here. So I haven't got, you know, it's not a kind of finished background as such, but what I thought that I could do is just literally, oops, get my scissors, and I'm just going to cut it in half. So I'm making just like the most super basic tag ever by just literally cut this, or fold this, sorry, in half. So again, you know, if you haven't got the tools, things like a bone folder, just use your scissor handle like that to just crease your paper. And then all I'm going to do is glue that together as the base of my journal card, and then I will trim around it once it's glued together. So let's hope this is going to glue down nicely, because as you can see, it's pretty curly. Where I've kind of got it saturated and wet, it's curling out a lot. So fingers crossed this is going to work. Okay, whoops. So I just then like to spread that glue, and I'm going in an outwards motion so as it hopefully is going really well up to those edges. Like that. Okay. Like that. Stab my table off. Okay. Now, obviously, you know, if you're not new to junk journals and you have a sewing machine, you know, or, well, even if you're new to junk journals, you can always take things like this to the sewing machine, and then what you could do is stitch around the edges, and that would also help to obviously keep it, you know, clamped closed. I mean, obviously, once this glue dries, this will be closed. I'm just, you know, aware that the glue's not going to dry instantly, so I may have a sort of issue with it staying shut for the moment, but that's fine. Okay, so that's my basic piece, and then what I'm going to do is obviously cut it down, but I'm going to cut it down in a minute. So let's get decorating it first. So I've got some more of my pretty red page that we kind of coloured in, and then I've got that gorgeous blue fairy, and I just want to have her poking out here. Oops, like that. Okay, like that, I think. Let me just check. Yep. Okay. So I might just tear this down slightly so as it's not got that straight edge. Okay. And then I'm just going to glue this onto there. Oops, sorry about my messy glue tip. Let me just wipe that off. Okay. Sure, I've just heard it start raining again. So yep, the day's not improving so far. It's staying pretty horrible. Okay, right. Okay. Okie dokie, right, so that's that piece, and then my flowers, I'm just going to inking them up, and that just kind of helps to, you know, disguise where I've just torn around those. So it just makes them look, well, I mean, they still look torn, obviously, but they now look attractively torn, perhaps, instead of less attractively torn. And then exactly the same with my little fairy. So just inking around there. That's so cute, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to glue those couple of bits down. Okie dokie. And just glue the fairy down and then the flowers. Okay. Okay, so that looks really nice. And whoops, it did look really nice until I smudged the fairy out of the way. Right, okay, let me just mop up that glue from my accident there. Okay, so she looks pretty now. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim around the edge here. So, like that, and trim around the bottom. Okie dokie. And just trim it down here along the side as well. Oops. Okay, so that looks nice, doesn't it? And then just going to, again, just ink this up. And, you know, again, the ink's just going to kind of make all the difference to how this looks. So we just ink across there like that. Okay, and then we'll just ink around the back. You can see, I mean, I've got a big splodge of paint on here. Again, you know, I mean, I'm not too worried about things like that. So oops, sorry, I had a bit of wet glue there, so obviously that's got in with the ink. Right, so now I'm thinking, shall we just have a little kind of tab or something at the corner? Or we could have this piece here. Well, let's just have it like that. So again, just going to take my stapler and staple that on. So again, you know, you might have something that they call a corner rounder, in which case you can round the corners of your little journal card there. Again, I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to, you know, do this with the least tools really. So hopefully it's going to be, you know, really accessible for every single person who's watching. And obviously we don't all have all the tools, do we? So hopefully this is going to be, you know, nice and accessible for everybody. Just wondering whether I need any more of this fabric. I mean, we could have just a little bit going across there. Do we want a bit going across there? Oh, I don't know now. Oh, I can't decide. Oh, well, I might not. But what we could do is kind of go around the edge with that ivory paint. So let me just pull the paint back in. Now I'm just going to try and do this with my finger, so just being really super messy here. But just going to go around the edge. And again, just, you know, maybe even smoosh it in a little bit. Like that. Okay. Okie dokie. So yeah, that's just kind of finished that off now, giving it a bit of a border, a bit of an edge. So I'll just move that out the way again. And then I think I might quite like a little button or something. So again, you know, I'm just using a button here on the basis of hoping that most people have got the odd button probably laying around in their house. I know that I certainly have always had, you know, buttons and things laying about in my house. So hopefully it's kind of within the realms of what people might have laying about. So let me just try and get the thread out of here. Hold on. Okay, whilst I just tore that thread out, I thought actually, I think this maybe needs, you know, some other flowers. So I just tore around these lilac ones, and I wondered whether we could have those on that journaling card, which I think look quite sweet. But I also had these little blue ones, and I thought, to be honest, maybe these blue ones might look quite good because, of course, they're blue, and we've got that little touch of blue. So just going to try and just cut out, you know, just one or two of these. Again, sometimes I find when you cut out very tiny things like this, they end up losing their identity altogether, and they don't resemble anything. But let's see. I think that's particularly true. You know, if they're like an irregular shaped flower, I mean like that, it's a bit of an irregular shape, and so, you know, it doesn't necessarily then continue to resemble a flower, does it? So we could kind of have that layered up. And then I've got these ones, which let's just tear out around here. Oops. Oh, sorry, just dropping it all on the floor now. Right. If we could have the blue, like, I don't know, like that or something. You know, for me, it just kind of felt a bit like perhaps I needed something else blue on there. So, yeah, I quite like how that looks, I think. So, let's just tuck those out of the way. I have got a couple more blue flowers, but yeah, I think they're not going to really resemble anything, to be honest. Okay, right, let's just now again ink around that little flower. Like that. I think it's actually getting darker outside. I mean, it is just the morning. Hard to believe because it feels like it's like, I don't know, 4 o'clock or something from the dark outside. It's not looking great. Can't decide which side to have it. I kind of prefer it this side. But then I was thinking when it goes into here, would I prefer the blue hidden? Oh, I don't suppose it really matters too much. Right, let's just get on and glue it down. So we just glue that like that. Okie dokie. Okay, and then the only other thing that I thought would be really nice is to have again a sentiment. So I've just got the rest of those little titles from the stories. Well, I guess we could have Happy Adventure Tales. That's the next one on there. Don't know whether I want them all. Maybe just Happy Adventure. Happy Adventure. That sounds kind of cute, doesn't it? So again, I'm just going to cut that. Oh my gosh, I should have put my glasses on for cutting that because my gosh, that was titchy. Literally titchy. Now, where do we want this? And I've still got that blue flower, so again, should we have that kind of just coming out to the side, I think? Oh, that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Right, let's do that. So pop that one down there. Okay, and then we're just going to have Happy Adventure. Whoops. Oh, this is so tiny. And luckily that this is a children's book because the text is pretty huge. If this were a, you know, full-size book, my gosh, it would be even smaller. So I'd be struggling even more to be holding it and popping it down. Oh, well. Right, there we go. So that looks really pretty, doesn't it? Yeah, I love how that looks. And then I did have that red button that obviously I just took that thread out of. So again, you know, we could have that on there. I don't know if it really needs it, to be honest. Oh, it's quite nice to the side actually. So let's just pop that on. Just going to hot glue that. It's nice and quick then. But I mean, like I say, you know, before I had all kind of my tools, you know, before I had my hot glue and things, I would have just used my wet glue for buttons. And to be honest, yes, you're going to have to wait for it to dry, but you know, that's going to work perfectly fine. You don't have to have hot glue, or, you know, you don't have to have the distress ink. They're just things that are nice to have, or possibly, you know, you maybe have come from a different area of crafting, and so you might already have those kind of tools anyway. Right, hopefully my page now is quite dry from the painting, so I'm just going to go around and again ink it all up so it's got that more vintage vibe going on, like that. Didn't even put any more ink onto my blender, so just going around the whole thing. Okay, so really looking pretty. I can't tell you how much I love this page. It's so gorgeous. I just love it. And then my lovely journaling card. I'm just checking it's not wet because I did paint around that edge. That's just going to just pop into that pocket like that. Oops. Like that. So it's really cute, isn't it? Hope that you like it, and I hope it's maybe given you some more inspiration for your first journal. And yeah, I hope you join me next time where we will go shopping and we will buy some new things to play with, and you know, for what I would call kind of the next step in your journal kind of making experience. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.